Hey everybody, I think I'm live here. I'm trying to just get my screen set up. Um, so let me know if you can hear this. Look like my audio is good. I'm trying to get my chat window open here. And all right, let's see. Yeah, so I just sent a test out. So let me know. Yeah, so let me know. This is just a really test. I'm just gonna kind of wait till a few people start showing up here. We'll see how things go. Um, might send a message out to a couple people. So I plan on just talking about openclaw and some of the things I've been doing in the background, some of the things I started off with doing, maybe some of the glitches I'm having. This isn't going to be real long, but the question will be, should you be using openclaw in some of these AIs? What's your best options there? Hmm. So anyway, we'll see who comes along. Try this one out and see if I can. All right. So I just checked myself. So anyway, we'll see if somebody shows up or not. But anyway, if anybody shows up, just leave me a message in the chat. So how y'all been? The last few weeks I've been pretty busy trying to just do my day job stuff, and then I've been working with openclaw because that's the rage in AI. Um, and I wanted to see how that will benefit me. So that might be better. And I set up these screens so we could walk through some of the stuff here in a little bit. Um, I think while I'm here, I may just kind of lay some of the stuff out here for people. Like I said, uh, people come in here. Yeah, not much going on. So I'm trying to think where I want to start with this and where possibly I want to end up. I really didn't plan. I just kind of jumped right in here and was just kind of impromptu. Thought I'd jump on this live and kind of just play around mostly, to be honest. Hmm. Hey, welcome to Love Yourself Up, where it's not about perfection but progress. I'm your host, John Budd, and I thought I would share with you some of the ways that we can use AI. And I'm going to start off with the basic chat models: ChatGPT, Claude, Grok, and Gemini, and Perplexity. Just very basic how people can use them, how they can start integrating them into our lives. And then I'm going to touch on some things I'm using with openclaw and some things I'm building with openclaw to hopefully help me in the day to day. Then I'm going to answer the big question: which model should you be using? I think, and that depends on who you are, but the people that I know in the day to day world, I'm going to just say it right off that probably are not ready for openclaw yet, but I think you should start familiarizing yourself with it and see if you want to play with it. Does it hurt to play with it? But there's a higher cost, so to speak. So anyway, who should be using some of the AI models out there? Well, the truth is, I think from a web version that you can do on your phone or do on your computer, I think everybody should be using them. I think they're a little different than just going to a Google search. Other than Google search is embedding them as well, right? Um, so I'm just going to start sharing my screen and kind of talking and working through some of this stuff. And so let me switch that over. All right. So Yeah. So this is the first time, by the way, that I've ever done this type of setup to where you can see me and see my screen. And I'm just going to walk through this. Probably not as polished as some of the people that stream all the time. There's definitely some things we can do to improve that as well. But um, all right, so if we go to a normal search, and let's just do that. Everybody's used to just Google, right? And so if you just go to google.com, and I'm going to tell it no, don't use Chrome. And let's just, and these are just, so you know what? And this is right down in here. This is all AI too, based on some of my search history and some of the stuff I have going on. It's pulling up stuff. Now, not all of it, but some of it. Like I've looked up this eBay item. But let's just say I want to look at top NASCAR teams, right? And you see how this is already starting to fill in? Well, this is a version of AI that is starting to guess, based on what I'm typing up here, what I might be looking for. That is a version of AI. So we're automatically using it, whether you realize or not. But if you come up here, this here, so this is an AI overview. This is automatically starting to fill in. Now this is, and it's telling its source. And if you come down here, it gives you more. Um, so this is a version of AI. We are all automatically using it right now. So that's one thing to notice, right? So I'm just curious, and I don't know. But if I go to Gemini, if I just paste that in there, I'm curious if it'll give me the same information. Yeah, imagine that. So what are the top NASCAR teams to watch in 2026? Not quite the same question. Didn't know. Well, interesting. Oh, I'm looking in my history. That's why. What are the top NASCAR teams in 2026? So there it's thinking, here it is. So it's basically going to give us the same information, right? Here's the sources as well if you want to check those out. Here's other things to follow up on. And so as I in my so it's a little different format. We'll go back and see if it's the same. So it's a little different, right? But it's basically the same. And so that is one way you can do that. Now, this is very simple. This is really not the power of So this is really not what this was designed for. This was really um, just basically an overblown view of just going to a Google search and typing in the same thing. But the power of AI, we'll get into a little later. But I want you to see that whether you're on Perplexity, and now we haven't, now this is much like the computer. This is much like stuff you can do with Claude Code and Claude Work. I've not used this yet, so I'm not really going to worry about showing you that. But this is really just the search, and so you can see my search history there. And but anyway, this is just how that works on Gemini. And actually, to be honest, Perplexity and Gemini I use the least. I'm not saying we should use other ones more or less. I'm kind of backing into some of these now. I really am a fan of Grok, and um, hey, John, thanks for dropping in here. I am trying a new screen share as well. So I'm using OBS and sharing my screen and flipping through here. So I was just walking through the differences of the NASCAR teams. If you go to Google, how it populates. And then if you go to Gemini, you can kind of see the same thing. And then what I like about Grok, you can get some powerful things. I would say that Grok is a little under right now, under Claude and GPT. That's my opinion, but it is powerful. I think you can do some things with it. You can obviously connect your account, which I haven't done, and you can do some features there. But what we need to do is, for instance, if we are looking for, let's say this is a real case, and so I'm going to try and redo it. My daughter had a problem with her car, and let's just say you have I'm just going to make up something here. Let's say you have a 2013 Subaru Crosstrek. And you start treating this more like you're talking to a person. Of course, that's the biggest thing with these live things. You'll see how horrible of a speller I am, but it is what it is. All my engine lights come on, and let's say the ABS and I forget what they call it, DAC light is on. What are the top reasons for this? Now, if I'm in a hurry, I don't always come back and fix this. The AI seems to be pretty smart in figuring out John's dialect. So you can start seeing it gives this uphill assistance. It starts coming up. So this is exactly it. Faulty brake light lamp switch. And so it starts coming up here. And let's say it talks about all this and a weak battery sensor. And so can throw some of these lights. But here's the beauty. You can say, I live in Huntsville, Alabama. What? Where is the top transmission shops to look at this hair? And oh yeah, and what do you want to say? Look at their customer service. All right. So it's going to want Alabama capitalized. For all you teachers out there, you can see that I use technology to correct my spelling. But anyway, so here's a beautiful thing about this. So it's scraping going through here and looking at all the different places in Huntsville, Alabama. Now you could probably narrow down your zip code and put stuff in here. Starts giving you some prices as you read through all this. So here's this transmission place. Here's Kevin's Auto Repair. And then you can start digging into these in this thread. So you're just kind of like digging back, um, moving. And John, I just see your comment. I think Claude is definitely getting a lot of attention, and it's in the AI people that's using openclaw. That right now they're saying that the Claude model is the best. They even use co-work to go in and fix Claude code and or Claude Open Claude. And so I've done the same thing. I've had some issues with my OpenClaw, which I'll get to in a second, and I've had Claude help me fix it and actually teach me how to fix it. So I have yet to use a co-work. I'm excited to do that. So, but in general, I just want everybody to start using these and start. This is very basic stuff, but you can really start digging into information. What's beautiful here is you can ask it to give you a list. So this is barely scratching the surface. And so this is going to function much the same. It's really just a chat interface. You can change the model. Opus 4.7 is the newest model. Sonnet 4.6 is really pretty good. You can do the same type of thing. But here's the beauty of that. I want to start getting into. You can say, I need a checklist for all the spring items I should do around my house. And I should have put the spring in there. And so let's just do that. So you can stop it right down here. And you can come up here and do an edit in my house in the spring, as well as I'd like to plant some trees. So that's kind of tied all together. See what it says. My thought is here that I want to get people to start using these AI models for little things, and it's so much more powerful because once this is done, and so it knows I live in Indiana. So here it is. It's starting to give me a checklist of everything I need to do, right? Now, now what's beautiful is I've used this before, so it knows I've had problems with my sump pump. And it talks about replacing my sump pump. See this down here? And so that's beautiful. It talks about testing all this, checking your outside spigots. And so then it goes into types of trees and this type of stuff. So it's just much more organized. And so what's beautiful that all this is going to be automatically in your history. And I'm going to tell people, I'm not going to share all my history because I got a lot of private stuff in there, but I'm going to tell people sign up for the free stuff. Do not feel like you got to pay for, a $20 a month or $100 a month package. Do the free one first. And when you see you're liking it, because what'll happen, you'll time out. If you use it so much for the free one, you'll start hitting that limit. Well, then decide if it's worth you paying for. So then, see, look at this. You want me to turn this into a printable document so you can check it off, or would you rather use a template in Osibian, so Jarvis? So that's that Obsidian is my vault, my memory vault for Jarvis. So it's already gonna do both. So watch this. I'll just say yes for both. I don't know if I'm going to give this to him yet because he's not quite ready, but I want to show you that it's going to come to and give me a downloadable link. If you're still there, is my sound doing all right? So it takes a little bit. Some of it is the speed. All right, awesome. So it's building me a Word document and it's creating it out. So here's the code that it's taken to do such things. Now, I wouldn't say this before. If you wasn't happy with everything on that list, you could tell it to go add some things. You could maybe say, I have this model of furnace. I have this model of outdoor, let's say you had a certain model of outdoor uh, grill. Maybe you wanted to put that on there and it will go into those details and get all that for you. So if you lived in a place with fire ants, it would probably, you could put that in there that, hey, I have fire ants and I need to take care of my yard. Or you could go the other direction, what's some landscapers in your area. So I think that's pretty powerful. Um, so to me, it's pretty powerful how we can use AI to actually make our life easier. And the other beautiful thing is, if you're going to outsource some of this stuff, wouldn't it be nice to hand a person, especially a young person, if he's going to have them come around and help you, you could say, hey, these are the items I want done. What would you charge me to do that? And then you actually have an inspection list for them to do as you check off their work. So so it's about done. It does take a little bit. I've got a lot going on my connection. I'm doing this live stream. Jarvis is running in the background, and I know we got a TV, couple people streaming video upstairs. So, but I would lean towards, if you're going to try one, try Claude. It's probably more direct. If you want a little bit more humor and stuff, I think Chat GPT or Grok has a little more uh, humor in them, and you can tell that. You can add that to them as well. So anyway, we're going to let that build, and I'm going to jump over here. I want to show you my openclaw. So this is my openclaw. It's much the same. You can just say, "Hi, Jarvis, how are you?" And then Jarvis is running. Hopefully he'll come back. He's doing well. He's been monitoring the systems and everything's been running smoothly. Just completed a backup of the workspace a little earlier. And so he's asking, is there anything to do for me? And so I can give him a task to go do. Well, one of the things I had Jarvis build for me was, I have this mission control. This is really just pictures. This is kind of an end goal of what I want to do. I will be able to add a task and then have him go fix some things. So for me, this will be stuff that I can give him as a to-do list and cycle through it, and I can put stuff on hold, or we can verbally do this as well. So I'm kind of jumping around a little bit, but it also took that same thing and built this interface now. So I know there's 36 in this. Um, I'm kind of building this out. So they'll end up having an icon for him, tell me which one he's working on. Um, and then so I can go through here and see what task he's working on. He also has built me a calendar of things he's supposed to be working on and some of the items that we're tweaking in. So this is what will happen when we're done. So, and then we're going to have a long-term projects. We haven't built that out yet. So this is all serving locally on Jarvis. That's what I named my AI. So I think, this is kind of extreme. The whole point of these mission controls for me is to help me track projects I'm doing, and working on. But let's jump back over here. So here is the checklist. Um, you can just see that I really like it. See, it did a nice structured um, checklist. You could print this off and just go walk through it. And, it's even got the warning call before you dig. It's just, to me, that's impressive, right? It took a little bit of time, but I couldn't have wrote it out that fast. Look at this. We never even mentioned the lawnmower blades. It talks about changing oil and using fresh gas. Uh, I just find it's really I wouldn't say funny, but it's awesome that it has this much detail in it, right? And just think we're scratching the surface. It's looking at the deck boards and fence. Does anything need resealed? Um, it's just phenomenal. And so let's see if it has and I'll share with you. So I'll see if it'll flip over here. So yeah, so here is, now this is, they call this a markdown file. And this is how Jarvis sees it. It just doesn't have all the fancy text. It's very much the same. And so it might give him some instructions up here. Um, but anyway, I thought this was very interesting. I hope this is useful. John, what do you think? You think this is helpful? Is there anything I should be telling people? John, he uses this quite a bit as well. In some fashions, he may know Claude even much better than I do. If I had the ability quickly, I'd add him into this live, but I just went live on YouTube, so I can't give him come in here. John, this would be something we ought to do a live on sometime, just walking through how we use AI. Um, and it would be beneficial just to show other teachers. John's a school teacher, or not a teacher, with dean of students. So, this would be ways that we could show people how we use AI in our lives. And what I want to do is help people learn how to use AI, and not that AI is our tool, or it's a tool for us, but we shouldn't get used by it. Um, yeah, one thing I think I want to touch on here, I'll hear people say, well, the AI is the Antichrist, and it might well be, I think we can go look at several systems like the Social Security, uh, that all this is pointing to that time the Bible talks about, but this isn't it. This type of AI, um, as powerful as it is, and we are getting close, there's no doubt. It's changing every day. Because there's some things where they can do in the background, so where it starts thinking, I wouldn't say thinking for us, but it can think for us. And the fact that it knows my responsibilities, and it can start helping me plan and do things that will alleviate. And I'm going to tell you, I really think we're going to see in our careers and our day jobs, if you're not starting to use this technology, you're not going to come to the top. It's going to hinder you. Um, I know that in my workplace, there's a handful of us using it. It's benefiting our jobs. I've heard in California, they're already starting to give AI token credit as part of their pay packages. I don't know how I feel about that, because I wouldn't want to be narrowed down into one model, because these models like ChatGPT and Claude, they're fighting for the top. And um, Claude and Claude work, they've kind of got those overlapping. They're in competition. So Anthropic has kind of blocked or made it difficult for openclaw to use Claude, which is kind of sad. I mean, you can use it through an API key, but it's much more expensive that way. Where Open or ChatGPT, its co-founder is now on the board of openclaw. So I think we're going to see that ChatGPT, you're going to start seeing it be more usable for that. And there is other agentic AIs out there, and people are pushing on the front lines that, listen, if you had $50,000, You could buy some of these computers that sit on your desk, and you'll be able to run these large models on your desk. Now, I think it's getting close to the end of this year. You might be able to do that for $5,000. Yeah, I think that's right, John. Um, he was saying he listened to a lot of podcasts the other day and said that the requirement for many jobs is the ability to use AI. I'm going to tell you right now that if you should, one, take a free AI course. It will help you with prompts. So I did not use good prompts today. Um, for one, a lot of times I use voice prompt. I'll just speak it and I give a lot of detail. And so when you can give it a lot of detail, probably this yard one was the best, but of that what I demonstrated. But if you give it more detail and you say, I live in this zone, and you give it exactly what you want, it will build out a good plan for you. And the more detail you give it, it's kind of like carrying a conversation. And if I tell my friend, hey, this is what I'm looking for, wanting to do, and you're kind of vague, right? If you go to a landscape shop and you say, hey, I'm wanting to plant some shrubs. Well, they're going to ask you questions, right? And so it's good to put in here, ask me clarifying questions. Because when you go to the landscape shop, they're going to ask you, what kind of sun does it get? What do you want it to look like? And if you have pictures, right? So if you take your pictures of your house to a landscape shop, they can help you plant the flowers. So the better picture you paint to the AI, the better it is. The other thing I've done is, I'll just show you. So I had, now this is no secret, I showed this before. Um, I had my Jarvis build this for me. Now, it used this one that took basically me just spitting stuff into a text file and telling it what to do, how to label it, so all this stuff. So none of these buttons work, but it made it, which that's impressive in itself. This is just a simple web page. If you looked at the code behind it, it's just a HTML file. Nothing's connected in the background. But what I wanted to do was, so I ended up saying, hey, this is what I got. So I took a picture of this, dumped it into Claude, and I said, hey, I want to build something similar to this, but I want this, this, and this. And I started explaining what I want. And so it then asked me where the path was. So I gave it pictures, right? And it read the pictures. And I fed those pictures to it because that was kind of the end result I wanted. And there was a couple people online that I liked their models, that I want to be able to track my token usage and stuff like that, because I've been running out of all my chat tokens, they call it, because I'm using it so much. And so then I got put on like a 2-day hiatus from Chat GPT because I hit my weekly limit last week. Now this week I'm doing pretty good. I'm down to 2 days, so I've been monitoring that. I've been utilizing because Jarvis is using it almost exclusively. Now, if you paid attention, I'm kind of bouncing all over the place, but you can see right now from my basic heartbeats and stuff, Gemini, it's using Gemini 2.5 Flash, and I have different models loaded. You can see I have GPT, Gemini, and then I have a Sonnet, and I thought I had um, Opus, the new Opus in here, but maybe I did not. Oh, it may be included right here. But anyway, and so it tells me, and I got to watch this context window, see this CT number, because what it is, and that's why it's good to, and I'm learning, is that as we are going through this, even all this text in here has a context window, and that's how much it carries with you. So when you hit enter back down here, it's loading so much into memory. Um, so listen, there's far more people out there that know more about this stuff than I do. Um, I'm just showing you what I've been doing uh, in my free time, so to speak. But I'm really trying to build it to help my life, because we all are busy. We all have a lot of things going on. All right, talk to you later, John. Uh, we all have things going on that we have a busy life. And so if we don't use these AI tools to help, financially help us out, maybe that's having AI make us some money, but it should streamline our jobs so that we can do our jobs easier, and so that we have free time. And then I think everybody ought to be using it. I don't care if you're 100 years old to a young kid. If you don't learn to do proper prompts, um, we'll be lagging behind. I can't bring up my work stuff, but even if inside our work stuff, it's starting to embed into where you can include this stuff into Excel spreadsheets. It's already in my email and in Teams. When you go in there, it will summarize meetings that we've recorded. So that's nice. So if, even if I'm there, it's nice to skim through that. If I'm looking for something or if I miss a meeting, then we can look at that. So I think in this world, we have to learn how to use it. But let me say this. Um, we need to not let AI rule us. I think it's very careful that we can get spiritually into this place where should we use this for our Bible studies? Should we look up Bible verses? And sure, I have. I've asked it for some Bible studies. Um, I normally don't. I think we could use this stuff for theology, and learn about other religions. I am a pretty open type of person. I believe in Jesus Christ, and I'm a follower. But I'm not afraid to look at how other religions view things. So I have looked up stuff there because I think it's a wealth of knowledge, and I don't mind being challenged. I think we can't be closed minded, but I think we should be careful not to fear this stuff. We need to understand how it works, and not let it use us. And I think the biggest thing here is don't let, not just, I think AI can, because it's a little woo woo. And I say that it seems mysterious until you take off some of the, peel back the layers. But I think it's really important that we don't replace AI with the Holy Spirit. We have, and I think as humans, God desires us to have a relationship with Him. And if we start going to AI to replace God, and listen, I think we can do the same thing at church. We can let the pastor replace our Father with us because we can plug in a person. And I think that's a downfall of people, is that we want the relationship that's built in us, but we tend to want to plug people into those places and not trust the Holy Spirit to fill those places and not go to the Holy Spirit. So those are two different things. I think we don't want to replace and God. We need to embrace God and understand how we can use AI. So I hope that was clear to people. I think that's a good starting point. We need to use these as tools, kind of like a pickup truck, right? We can carry a lot of stuff in a truck, but it's a tool. Um, we shouldn't necessarily worship the vehicle. And this is just a vehicle. Will one day AI be the Antichrist? I've got my opinions, and I think it could be. I think it will be a living entity. Um, I was listening to a podcast the other day. They was talking about how Elon has got the neural link in their head, and they was talking about how it's helping people with major diseases that can't talk. That they plug that in, and now through AI, it's able to create them talking. That's amazing what we can do, and I think that goes back to that we can do anything we want to put our minds to. So there was something else I wanted to add to this, but I forget what it is off the top of my head. So I guess number one, don't let AI rule you. you need to rule AI. Use it for your benefit. I think there's some things you can get if you can't. And one thing I did a while back was I told her I wanted to do a 15-minute workout, and actually I need to print that out. But I said I knew I could commit to a 10 to 15-minute workout, right? So I said, hey, I want to do a workout that focuses on these areas, and one of them was mobility. And I think that we could work on that. That we can um, use AI to help us. So I'll try not to be too redundant there. So I hope that's a general overview. I know I didn't get into overclaw too much, but let me say this: should you, the average person, use openclaw? Boy, I'm going to say no. I hate saying it, but I'm going to say no. You should not. Um, I think there's some people on the front lines that's using it, and it's awesome. I'm going to keep using it. Um, but I think unless you're not you got to be a little tech savvy. When things break, you got to know how to go fix it. Um, I think the better thing to do is go and install Claude Cowork, and if he's going to do something like that, because OpenClaw, though it's free, it needs to be on its own computer. There's I'm running into because I've got it on an old computer. I have 12 gigabytes. It's got an SSD hard drive in it. I've installed Linux on it and put OpenClaw on it. And other than the web server, OpenClaw, it's only using about, I think, 8 gigs of memory. But I'm having trouble spinning up my own Olama, which is my own local AI. Um, and just it's too old of a system. If he's going to buy something. A lot of people are using Mac Minis, and they have open memory, I think it's called. So basically, like mine, it's have to use the CPU to generate the AI, and I don't have a good GPU. And so this gets a little geeky, right? So here's the crux of this: if you don't have the right system, you're going to run into problems. And I'm starting to hit that window right now. Um, and then the other choice is to do it online. There's a monthly cost to that, and then you've got to have some sort of AI in the background, so you're going to pay for that in one way or another. So right now, what I have done is plugged in my ChatGPT subscription, and they cut off the Anthropic. Like you can't plug that in, or I would probably switch, to be honest with you. But you can't no longer plug that in because I think there's Anthropic's wanting to be competition. Uh, so that's with all that said, I think if you're going to do it, just go with Claude Cowork, download it on your computer. There's a lot of tutorials out there for that. But start here first. Start with what I showed you. Just start doing some basic searching. You learn your prompts, and you can ask. This is a beautiful thing. So if you just go, so look, and I didn't. I'm using ChatGPT just because I haven't used it. So teach me how to create a better prompt to interact. And so, and here's the other thing: you could probably say, lay me out a 5-day course, and I'm going to come to you every day, and I want day one to be laid out so you can teach me how to do a better interactive course. So, There you go, context. What do you need to know? Give it a lot of background. Yeah, so it's just really being detailed, right? So I run a self-improvement podcast, Love Yourself Up, trying to grow on YouTube with weekly videos and shorts. Um, Help me create a YouTube that reaches 1,000 subscribers in 60 days. Tell me your limits or constraints, like I only have 1 hour a day, I'm on a tight budget, beginner with editing, what tools you can use, how you want it. You know, want it step by step. I want a checklist. I think that's really important. Otherwise, it just dumps everything out. And I really like the function ask me one question at a time, because what I found is that it dumps everything out, and then as it's telling you to do stuff, I'm like, oh well, how do you do that? Maybe I don't know how to do that. So I think here's another thing that I forgot to cover is act like a role. So you might say, let's see, here it is. Act as a YouTube growth strategist. Here's the context. So this would be what you should type in. All right. So here's the beauty. See this little thing here? You can do this copy. And then here's some things to do better. And you can just copy and paste that and how to improve. And I don't think it has to just be for growing online, right? But let's just paste this in here and see. I'm curious. Yeah. So I have some prompts and workflows saved, and I should say I can't really show you because I got some private stuff in there, but you can do projects, and in these projects I can have basically these rules, these same things, and they will go in and show you what you need to do. Um, and it automatically does it. So when I dump in the text, I can say, do this, this, and this. It already knows, and it just dumps it all out. Again, I've really focused with ChatGPT and Claude. I would say that Claude, just like was said in the chat, Claude is probably a step above ChatGPT right now. But you know, in 5 months, 3 months, in a month, it could be backwards. This stuff is really changing. So listen, I've been live here for almost an hour. I didn't expect to be live this long. Um, I hope this helped you out. I hope this benefited you to help you not be scared. And I want to challenge you. Leave it in the comments below. How do you improve and how do you use it? You could do it for health regimens. Um, there's almost unlimited ways to use this. Let me know how you use it and try and step out of your comfort zone. And this is John with Love Yourself Up. I hope this is some value to you. God bless you. I will talk to you later. You know, I think I'm going to do something here. I saw Network Chuck. I follow him on YouTube, and I'm going to try this. And if you made it this far in the video, this is a Christian-based, Love Yourself is Christian-based. And so if you don't believe in the Bible, you don't believe in Jesus, then that's all right, and you can tune out. But I want to pray for you. Uh, Father, just help everybody that watches this video. Would you bless them? Help them open up their minds. And Lord, give us all, let us not be full of fear and worry, but help us to know what we should be using and what we shouldn't, what fits into our lives. Help us to use these tools to benefit us and to grow in our relationship with you, most of all. Lord, that you would come alongside of us and walk with us and enlighten us and give us your wisdom. Bless everyone out there that watches this video In Jesus' name, amen.